What's up guys, OJ here. Welcome back to another video, and today I'm talking about Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes. I know it's been a little bit since the launch of the game. I just had a backed up schedule, but I'll have to say this. I am thoroughly impressed with what Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes has done, especially coming off of the excellent Fire Emblem Three Houses and some of the mechanics and things that they've done to mix up the Warriors formula. So this is something that I didn't expect to be as good as it is, but there's a number of reasons why I like it, and in some respects more than Fire Emblem Three Houses. But before we get into anything, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. Now, I'm around 10 hours or so into the game. Once again, I am a bit behind when it comes to the gameplay and the content and me giving my impressions on this game if you haven't been watching my live streams or following me on Twitter, but this game is phenomenal. This is a alternate story within the Fire Emblem Three Houses timeline that sees you play as Shez, who's a mercenary that gets bodied by Violet and Geralt at the beginning of the game, and you run into the three different houses with Edelgard and Dimitri and Claude instead of Violet. So I do like this style of game in terms of what they did with the story setup, and of course the gameplay is the Warriors style, focuses more on an action RPG than a strategy RPG like Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, I wasn't sure how much I would like this game because the previous Fire Emblem Warriors game, I thought it was good, but at the same time, like, I didn't really feel the attachment to it like I felt with Age of Calamity. But Age of Calamity and Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes have one thing in common, that they're both based off of a certain game and put into the Warriors style gameplay. So it's not just a mashup of all the different characters within a franchise, it's more about that game and what that game does, its mechanics and gameplay things put into the Warriors style of gameplay. And I've always liked that style more than anything, and I think that Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes does a phenomenal job of taking a lot of those aspects, and we're going to talk about that here, and it turned out way better than I even thought that it would. Now, the things that I love about this game, the voice acting is so spot on. If you've played Fire Emblem Three Houses, you know that the voice acting is really good. This is no exception either. Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes has phenomenal voice acting. All of the cast returns from Fire Emblem Three Houses, and it's just a great voice acted adventure. So I do love that. Now, the story is solid despite not being exactly canon. It's more of an alternate thing, but it feels like it's a canon story. It feels like they were writing something that was going to be etched into the actual Fire Emblem lore, and although it's not necessarily, it's just as good as many other main games out there, or even main Fire Emblem game stories. So I am loving what I'm seeing so far, but you also have to remember that it is based off of a lot of the events. Even though it's like an alternate timeline or story, a lot of the events that happened in Fire Emblem Three Houses happens in Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes, but it's just either told in a different way or different things happen leading up to the events. So it's really cool how they played around with that, and that's part of the charm with this game if you've already beaten Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, when it comes to the graphics, they can be a little bit rough at times, just like Three Houses, but the frame rate holds up way better than Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which is obviously a big positive. And the big thing about this game, though, more so than the story and the graphics and all the other stuff, voice acting, it's the gameplay, and that's where this title shines. And yes, people sometimes get tired of the Warriors formula. It's just button masher, whatever it is. You're just constantly just fighting hordes of enemies. But for some reason, this game really just holds my attention. Like I said, even more than Age of Calamity, which I loved so much. And yes, the cool flashy moves, combos, all of that stuff is here, but how it intertwines with Fire Emblem Three Houses mechanics into the game is probably the most impressive thing, because what they do is the leveling, the combat aspects, the class changes, weapons, equipment, all of that stuff is straight from Fire Emblem Three Houses. But many of the tedious aspects from Three Houses do not return in Three Hopes. They actually modify it and make it better. So it almost seems like it's a sequel where they take all of the basic fundamental core stuff and they make it better and improve upon it and evolve it. Fast traveling from points to points in the home base and area is awesome. Leveling your camp is really cool for more rewards. There's a number of things that they do to just make it easier and more fun to play. Even accessing different areas is much better now. And if you're playing on the hard mode in Fire Emblem Three Houses, you couldn't replay missions because it'd use up a point. The combat levels would disappear. But this one's a bit different, where it's kind of like saying, hey, they want you to actually use up and use all different points on the map and enjoy your experience and grind it out and level. So I do like that. And the aspects from Fire Emblem, the series, when it comes to the detailed leveling and also the permadeath, is also available right there, which I am playing on the hard difficulty and also permadeath. Now, all of these gameplay elements coming together just create this addictive gameplay loop where you want to continue seeing what happens with the story. You want to continue playing with the characters and finding out different combos, because the characters are very varied in how they fight, from a magic user to someone who uses a spear to someone who uses an axe or a straight sword. So I just found myself wanting to learn every single character, and as you go on in the story, you'll unlock new characters and supports and different things, and even some of the stuff that you can do. You can team up with someone else as in like adjutant, and they can also do team attacks and everything. So I just loved what they did with this game. It really just once again creates that addictive gameplay loop where you're always pushing forward, and once again, without the tedious things that were in Fire Emblem Three Houses, it creates a more free-flowing experience that's super fun to keep playing, especially on the harder difficulty for me, because you really have to strategize and make sure that you have the right equipment and you have the right different characters, that you're matching up the weaknesses and resistances. All of that is in play here. Now, the various classes all have flashy combos and cool specials with the signature weapon triangle system from previous Fire Emblem games. And this is what I like, because what you can do is that you can actually go up to your map and you can send people out to take out where you have an advantage. You can go and send them over there, and it'll even give you a grid or a percentage chance of who's gonna win the battle as well. So you can perfectly plan out all your different strategies, just like if it was a regular Fire Emblem game, but obviously done a bit different as it's an action RPG here. So I do love that. Now, while the structure is still a Warriors game, everything there is still intact. You have the bases fighting the big enemies. You have the smaller enemies to fight that are just kind of like cannon fodder. You have like the base camps of the like people to go take out different classes within that. It's still really fun to just go through and capture bases and fight these bosses and all of that. But it's just something about this combat and how the leveling and the combos and the gameplay feels that just kind of elevates this Warriors game to the near top, if not the top of my list. And I still have to finish playing it all the way through, but 10 hours plus in, I am already thinking, whoa, this is something different, just because of how addictive the game is. Now, I will have more of a full review once I complete the game and everything, but for right now, super impressed with Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes, and I would definitely recommend it for anybody who's a Warriors fan or anybody who's an action RPG fan. I'm currently playing through the Blue Lions path with Dimitri, just because I don't necessarily like Edelgard. I played through that path with Fire Emblem Three Houses, and while it was okay, there were some things that I didn't like, so I'm definitely checking out Dimitri's part here. And this might be one of the few Warriors games that I actually go through and replay through the single player campaign. I don't think I've done that since, I think, the original Hyrule Warriors. And I've played quite a number of Warriors games, and that might be the only one where I actually played through the single player campaign again, I think on like a harder difficulty or something, or maybe with the definitive edition on the Nintendo Switch. But this one I'm actually thinking about going through and playing again with the different paths, because there is different story and replay value between each path. So I'm thoroughly impressed with what they've done here with the single player campaign, and what they've even done adding in the multiplayer. I haven't tried it out, but there is multiplayer in the game too, just local multiplayer. So that's cool as well. So Fire Emblem Warriors, much better than I thought that it would be, and it continues to get better. I think this is definitely one of those sleeper hits for 2022, because people felt like, okay, yeah, it's a Warriors game, it probably will be okay or not, or whatever the case is. But I remember when the reviews came out, and I think it has like an 80 or so on Metacritic, which is definitely high for a Warriors game. It's higher than Age of Calamity, so definitely impressed with what's going on here, and I cannot wait to continue playing more and give my full review as I clock however many hours it takes me to beat the campaign, and I'll put the hours and all that. So we'll talk about it more, and if it actually ends up being my favorite Warriors game of all time when it's all said and done. But what are your thoughts when it comes to Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes? Are you enjoying the game as much as I am, or are you going to check it out because of what I had to say here? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.